Hello folks and welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do it now and hit the bell icon to get instant updates. For today's project, I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook and two colored yarns, and these are both of the same weight. Now starting with our blue yarn, make a slip knot. Secure the knot on your hook, and now starting with the foundation chain, chain 15. Once the foundation chain is ready, chain 1 and make a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Place a stitch marker in your single crochet. Now make one single crochet in each chain until you reach the last chain. So here I've got 15 single crochets. Now make another single crochet in that last stitch. This is your 16th single crochet. Now turn your work, and at the back you can see the stitches. We're going to make one single crochet in each stitch. So starting with the first one, you've got a single crochet and now one single crochet in each stitch, and in the last stitch again you're going to make two single crochets. So here in the last stitch I'm making one more single crochet. Now both sides have 16 single crochets, so a total of 32 single crochets. Remove the stitch marker and make a slip stitch to join your round. Now chain 1 and place a stitch marker in this chain 1. And for the remaining rounds we'll be making a slip stitch in this chain 1 stitch. Now we'll be making single crochets, but we'll only be working in the back loops of our stitches. So insert the hook in the back loop of your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops, and make one single crochet in each stitch, so you will have a total of 32 single crochets by the end of the round. So here I finished my single crochets. Now we're going to join with a slip stitch. So remove your stitch marker, insert the hook in that chain 1 space and make a slip stitch. Now chain 1 and place your stitch marker in this chain 1 space. Now continuing the next round, we will again make one single crochet in the back loop. So here I finished the round and I've made a slip stitch in the chain 1 space, made a chain 1 and then placed my stitch marker. Now over here I've placed the pink stitch marker on the 11th stitch. So continue making one single crochet in the back loop of each stitch until you reach your stitch marker. I'm on the stitch before the stitch marker, and I'm going to change the color by placing the white yarn on my hook and passing it through the last two loops on my hook. So this is the completion of the last stitch before the stitch marker. Now remove the stitch marker, insert the hook in the back loop and make a single crochet with the white yarn. Now make the next single crochet and we're carrying along at the back the blue yarn. On the third stitch we're going to switch back to blue, so drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn and pass it through the last 2 loops on your hook. Now carry on making your stitches with the blue yarn, and we're not carrying our white yarn along, but if you feel like you want to carry the white yarn you can do that. So here I've completed the round and I've made a slip stitch and a chain 1. Now starting the next round with our single crochets, make 8 single crochets, and on the 8th one we're going to switch to our white color. So here I am on my 8th stitch. When you have 2 loops, bring the white yarn from the back and pull it through both the loops. So the white yarn is coming a long way, make sure it's not tucked in too tight. Now keeping both the yarns, blue and the white yarn, we are going to make 6 single crochets in the back loops with a white yarn, and on the 6th single crochet we're going to switch back to blue and complete the remaining round with blue. So I've completed the round and made a slip stitch and a chain 1. Now starting with our single crochets in the back loop, make 7 single crochets with the blue yarn, and on the 7th one we're going to switch to the white yarn. Now making the 7th single crochet, when you have 2 loops, drop the blue yarn, pick up the white one from the back and be mindful of the tension of your yarn over here. Now keeping the blue yarn close to your work and also weaving in that yarn from the back for the white one, we're going to make 8 single crochets with the white yarn, and on the 8th single crochet switch back to blue, continue with the blue, and we will not carry on with the white one, and I'll complete the round and come back. So I'm back after making the slip stitch and the chain 1. Now we're working our single crochets in the back loops. Make 6 single crochets with the blue yarn, and on the 6th one we're going to change to white. This is your 4th, 5th, and now in the 6th one, when you have 2 loops, drop the blue yarn, pick up the white one from the back, bringing it all the way and pulling through, making sure of your tension, and then would continue making the single crochets in the back loops with the white yarn, and we are making 8 single crochets with the white yarn, and on the 8th single crochet we're going to switch to blue and complete our round with the blue yarn. So the stitch count I've used in this round, I'm going to use it to make another round, and I'll then come back. So here I'm back after completing 2 rounds with the same stitch count. Now starting our next round, I'm going to make my single crochets in the back loops with the blue yarn. We will make 6 single crochets with our blue yarn, and on the 6th one drop the blue yarn, pick up the white yarn, and then make 6 single crochets with your white yarn, and on the 6th one drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn, and complete the round. So here I'm back after completing the round. Now starting the next round, make your single crochets with the blue yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the 6th one change color. So picking up the white yarn from the back, completing a single crochet, now keeping the blue yarn close. Make your single crochets using your white yarn. 1, 2, 3, and on the fourth one we're going to change color. So drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn, continue the round with the blue yarn. End your round with a slip stitch and a chain 1. So starting our next round, make your single crochet with your blue yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the sixth one we're going to change to white. So drop the blue yarn, pick up the white one from the back, pull it through both loops. Now keeping the blue yarn close, make just one single crochet. So insert your hook, pull up a loop. When you have 2 loops, drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn, complete the single crochet. Now continue with the blue yarn. So just to show you how the work looks from the back, it's quite neat and all the threads are nicely hidden in our work. Now for this round I made just one single crochet with the white. I'm going to repeat 2 more rounds with the same count. So here I am after completing 2 more rounds with that single stitch. Now starting the next round, go into that first stitch. When you have 2 loops, drop the blue yarn, pick up the white yarn from the back, complete your stitch. Now make one single crochet with the white yarn, so insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Make sure you have the loops at the back. Now drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn, complete that stitch. Now we're going to carry the white yarn along with our work. So we've got 2 white strands at the back. Make 4 single crochets with the blue yarn. 1, 2, 3, and on the fourth one we're going to switch to white. So pick up that white yarn, complete the stitch, make 1 single crochet with the white yarn, switch back to blue, and then complete the entire round with the blue. So I've completed the round and joined with a slip stitch and a chain 1. But instead of working a first single crochet over here, I'm just going to undo my chain 1. So place the white yarn from the back onto your hook and complete that chain 1. Now go into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over the blue loop on your hook and complete the stitch. Keeping the white yarn close to our work, we are going to make our single crochets using our blue yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the fifth one we're going to change to white. So drop the blue yarn, pick up the white one, complete the stitch. Now make 1 single crochet with the white yarn. So insert your hook, pick up a loop, drop the white yarn, get the blue yarn back on and complete the stitch. Now complete the remaining round with the blue yarn. So at the end of this round I've joined with the slip stitch and I'll make the chain 1 with the white yarn. So bring the white yarn onto your hook and chain 1. Now keeping the blue yarn close, go into that first stitch in the back loop of your first single crochet, keeping all the yarns together, and now make a single crochet. So I'm going to place this stitch marker into my chain 1. So over here I've got 2 loops of the white on my hook. Complete the stitch with the blue yarn. And we carry on with the white yarn along with our work. So you've got 2 white loops at the back. Make your single crochets with the blue yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the fifth one we're going to change color. So when you have 2 loops of the blue, drop the blue yarn, pick up the white yarn, complete the stitch. Now make a single crochet in the next stitch with the blue yarn. When you have 2 loops, drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn, complete your stitch. Now complete the remaining round with the blue yarn. So I've made a slip stitch and a chain one. Now starting the next round, we're going to pick up a loop with the blue yarn. When you have two loops, bring the white yarn across and then complete your single crochet. Now keeping the blue yarn close to our work, make one single crochet with the white yarn. So when you have two loops of white on the hook, drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn and complete the stitch. Now keeping the white yarn close as we're carrying it to the next point, we're going to make 4 single crochets with the blue yarn, and on the 4th stitch we're going to change to white. So this is the 4th single crochet. Now drop the blue yarn, pick up the white yarn from the back, complete the stitch. Now make 1 single crochet with the white yarn. So you have 2 loops on the hook, drop the white yarn, pick up the blue one, complete the stitch and complete the remaining round with the blue yarn. So I've completed a round with a slip stitch and a chain one. Now insert your hook in the back loop of your first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on the hook. We're going to put the white yarn onto our hook and pull through. Now make 2 single crochets with the white yarn. So making our work in the back loops of our stitches. Make your first single crochet, and on the second one we're going to change to blue. So drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn from the back, complete the stitch. Now keep the white yarns close to your work, so we are carrying them to the next point, and make 3 single crochets with the blue yarn, and on the third single crochet we're going to change to white. So when you have 2 loops on the third single crochet, switch to white, complete your stitch, and now make 1 single crochet with the white one. So you have 2 loops with the white one, switch to the blue yarn, complete your stitch and complete the round with the blue yarn. Now starting our next round, we're going to make a single crochet with the blue yarn, working in our back loops, and on the second single crochet we're going to switch to white. So when you have 2 loops, drop the blue yarn, pick up the white yarn, bring it all the way across and then complete the stitch, keeping both yarns close. Now complete your 2 single crochets with the white yarn, and on the second one switch to blue. Now make 2 single crochets with the blue yarn, keeping the white yarn close. 1, and on the second one we're going to switch to white, and then make 1 single crochet with the white yarn. When you have 2 loops, switch to blue, and now work the remaining single crochets with the blue yarn. So here I wanted to show you that every time I switch from white to blue, these threads get tangled. So all you have to do is rotate your work like this to detangle it, and then continue with your work. So I'll see you at the end of this round. So starting our next round, make your single crochets in the back loops of your work. With the blue yarn we're making 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and on the third one change color. So drop the blue yarn, pick up the white yarn, complete the stitch. Now working with the white yarn, keeping the blue yarn close, make your single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and on the fourth one we're going to switch to blue. So drop the white yarn, pick up the blue yarn, and now do the remaining stitches with the blue yarn. So in this round I made 4 white single crochets. I'm going to repeat this same round and come back. So here I am after completing my round with the same count, and now starting the next round with your blue yarn, make 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and on the fourth one switch to white. Keeping the blue yarn close, now make 3 single crochets with the white. 1, 2, and on the third one switch colors back to blue and complete the remaining round with the blue yarn. So for the next 3 rounds you're going to work the 2 single crochets for the white and then one row with just blue. We're not going to carry on the white anymore. So I'm going to come back with that. So here I've completed those 3 rows. As you can see, I decreased the white one over here with 2, then 1, and then 1 row just with blue. So over here you can see I've placed these stitch markers. These markers are to mark where we're going to make the loops. So in the 5th stitch, place your first stitch marker and then count 7 after that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in the 7th one put the next stitch marker. Now these are the 2 positions where we'll be making the loops for our pouch. So I've left equal space on both sides and then placed my stitch markers. So over here I'm going to make the loops, and at the back we're going to place some buttons. Before we start off with the row, the work for the white yarn is complete over here, so I'm going to cut this off over here, and later on we can weave in the ends. So I'm just going to tuck it in for now. So continue making 1 single crochet in the back loop of each stitch until you reach the stitch marker. So remove the stitch marker and make a slip stitch under both loops. Now chain 7. So this chain is according to the size of the button I'm using, which I'll show you in a bit. So you need to adjust the chain according to the size of the button you're using. Now make a slip stitch in the 5th chain from the hook or the 2nd chain from your stitch. So I'm going to make a slip stitch over here. Make another slip stitch in the 1st chain or the last chain, however you're counting. Now make a slip stitch in the base stitch. Now make 1 single crochet in the back loop of each stitch until you reach your next stitch marker. Remove the stitch marker and make a slip stitch. Chain 7. Now make a slip stitch in the 2nd chain from the base or the 5th chain from your hook. Make another slip stitch in the next chain. Now make a slip stitch in the base stitch. Now work 1 single crochet in the back loop of the remaining stitches. So here I finished the round. Now chain 1 and cut off the yarn over here. Pull it through. So our pouch is complete over here, and now it's time to place our buttons. So these are the 2 buttons that I've got, and to try that they fit well in your loops, place the button like this into your loop. So insert your button into that loop where the maximum width of the button is, and just shake it a bit. If it falls off too quickly or it isn't going in through, then you can adjust the size of the loops accordingly. Now place the buttons at the back of your pouch, and we have to make sure that the positioning is according to the length of the loop we've got. So I think my loop will pass through the button over here, and I'm going to be sewing it from the back side. As you can see, those insertions at the back. So I'm going to go and place my buttons over here below the last row like this. So I'm going to use a yarning needle, but this needle is a bit too big. It isn't going through the back of my button. So I'm going to go ahead and use a regular needle with a regular thread, and I'm going to sew these on. Here I've got my work inside out and I'm weaving in the loose ends. So my pouch here is ready and I'm going to place my phone inside and close the buttons. I made 2 buttons so that I had the slot in the center available to attach my cord. This is the final look of my pouch and I've attached a handle to this and it's a crossbody pouch. If you want to see how I've made these cords, subscribe to my channel, stay tuned for my next video and thanks for watching.